everyone. Welcome to our animated philosophy series, where we explore timeless concepts in a modern context. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of necessary propositions, specifically focusing on tautologies and a priori knowledge as understood by logical positivists. This is a key area in understanding their broader philosophical framework. First, let's break down what we mean by necessary propositions. At the heart of this idea is a simple but profound question. Can certain statements be true purely by the way they are constructed, without needing to refer to the external world? The answer, according to logical positivists, is a clear yes, and these types of statements are known as analytic truths. A prime example of an analytic truth is a tautology. Now, I'm sure you've encountered tautologies before, even if you didn't realize it. Tautologies are statements that are true by definition. A classic example in logic is, all bachelors are unmarried. You don't need to go out and interview every bachelor to confirm whether they're unmarried, because the concept of bachelor already includes the meaning unmarried. The truth of the statement is built into the language itself. It's true in every possible world, simply because of how we've defined the words. So, let's pause here. Why does this matter to logical positivists? The logical positivists, like a Ayer, were deeply interested in the nature of meaningful statements. And here's where things get interesting. While these tautological, necessary propositions are true, they don't actually tell us anything new about the external world. They're informative about language, but not about reality. Let me give you an example from everyday life to make this clearer. Imagine you're in a courtroom, and a lawyer stands up and says, by definition, theft is the taking of someone else's property without permission. Now, this statement is undeniably true. It's a tautology. But does it tell us anything about whether the defendant actually committed theft? No. For that, we'd need to turn to the evidence, to what's happening in the real world. The tautology is useful, even necessary for legal reasoning, but it's not informative about the facts of the case. This is what the logical positivists meant when they said that necessary propositions, like tautologies or mathematical truths, are analytic, true because of the meanings of the words involved, but they don't expand our knowledge of the empirical world. They don't need to be tested or verified through observation, and in that sense, they're different from the statements we make about the world, which the positivists believed had to be empirically verified to be meaningful. Now, a similar idea applies to a priori knowledge, which is knowledge you can have prior to, or independent of, experience. Take mathematics, for instance. When you state that 2 2 4, this is an example of a priori knowledge. You don't have to physically count objects to know this equation is true. It's based on the definitions and logical rules of mathematics. But again, as logical positivists would argue, while this statement is necessarily true, it doesn't tell you anything about the world outside of mathematics. It's true in any situation, under any condition, because of the structure of the logical or mathematical system, but it remains within that system. So, why do logical positivists care so much about this distinction between what's analytic and what's empirical? Their philosophy is built around the idea that only statements that can be empirically verified, meaning checked against real-world experience, are truly meaningful when it comes to telling us about the world. A tautology, or any analytic proposition, doesn't require this kind of verification, but that also means it doesn't inform us about the world around us. It's important to note, however, that this doesn't mean these necessary propositions are unimportant. Far from it. Think about mathematics and formal logic. These fields are full of tautologies and necessary truths. The rules of these systems allow us to create complex frameworks that are critical to scientific reasoning, computer programming, and even legal systems. But, according to logical positivists, while these frameworks are essential tools, they're still tools of language and thought, not direct insights into the external world. To bring this closer to home, let's think about how we use necessary propositions in our daily reasoning. Imagine you're planning a budget. You know, by definition, that income minus expenses equals savings. This is a necessary truth. It's analytic because it follows from the meanings of the terms. But notice, while this is true, it doesn't tell you anything about how much income you actually have, or whether your expenses are outpacing your income. For that, you need to look at the numbers, at the reality of your bank account and bills. So, when logical positivists point out that necessary propositions are true but not informative about the world, they're highlighting a vital distinction. These propositions help us reason and structure our thoughts, but they don't replace the need for empirical observation if we want to know something about the external world. Now, let's imagine a brief story where this concept plays out in daily life. Consider two friends, Alice and Bob. who are trying to solve a problem. They're arguing over a puzzle that involves a set of logical rules. Alice insists that a certain move is possible because in this game, if A equals B and B equals C, then A must equal C, then A must equal C. Bob disagrees, not because the logic is wrong, but because he thinks Alice hasn't considered the real-world conditions of the game. Maybe in the real game, the pieces don't follow these strict rules. They might be influenced by external factors, like gravity or friction. Alice's statement is a tautology. It's true within the system of logic she's using, but Bob's concern is about the real-world application of those logical rules. Here, we see how necessary propositions, as correct as they might be within their own framework, don't always give us the whole picture when applied to reality. They are true, but they might not tell us everything we need to know. In summary, necessary propositions, whether they're tautologies or examples of a priori knowledge, are foundational for logical reasoning. They are analytic, meaning their truth is derived from the structure of language or logic, not from experience. But as logical positivists pointed out, while these propositions are useful for organizing our thoughts, they don't expand our understanding of the world outside these systems. To do that, we need empirical observation. Thank you, and I hope this helps make sense of how logical positivists viewed necessary propositions. Thank you for learning with us. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more insights into similar echoes.